1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
Googan Nation. Time to rise and shine and start your day with Duval Sports Media Big Steppers. Dan Hicken.
You know it!
Jeff Prosser.
It's a big deal.
Gosh, it sure is a big deal.
And E to the T.
E.T. is in the booth.
Rise and shine! Googan's Go Time on a Monday morning. It's a tradition unlike any other as we come to you live this morning from the SJC and the Southampton Golf Club, where it is. Do I have a number? I think this might be the 25th Googan Open.
Dang.
It's definitely over 20. Good morning, E.T. How we doing?
Stop by, say, Jeff.
Yeah, we did the first one at Windsor Park. I mean, it had to be like 06 or 07. So, that'd only be 20 years. I'm sorry. It'd have to be, 20 years.
Okay.
We're getting close. It might be the 20th Googan Open. It's certainly up there. We bounced around a variety of different spots and locales as we spread the golf love among the First Coast and those that are able to get out here and play with us today. So we're looking forward to a fun day at Southampton from sunrise to sundown. It is the Googan Open this morning. Stand by. All right, we're back. You know when the coach puts his play card up over his mouth when he's asking the question? Yeah. That's what we did right there. All right, look, the elephant in the room, 0.0 Blutarski. If you ask the pundits, if you ask the quote unquote experts, who, by the way, aren't as expert as the NFL people, or they'd be working in the NFL and not for CBS, SI, Yahoo, ESPN, Pro Football Talk, Sharp Sports, you name it. And more importantly, the fans. The story is it was a draft weekend of incredible reach by the Jags. Again, that's by value boards posted by parts unknown. But look. They found the guys they wanted, and they went and got them. Whether or not they proved to be right compared to how we disseminated all the information and all the intel and all the names. But, man, it was just who after who after who after what all weekend long. It never stopped. E.T., good morning. I am not on social media, but I have enough people that are. And of all of the I'm trying to be careful here. Was it overwhelmingly negative?
It was a little bit of all of it, but it was a lot of negative. It was basically who.
Yeah.
We haven't addressed what we needed.
Well, what we say we need. Correct. I think it's always interesting at these times, and it's important to differentiate between what the team feels the needs are and what they are getting in those players and what we, the fans, feel the needs are. Yeah. It's not like they didn't address need. They just did it with names that were – taken way ahead of where any expert would have had them placed. And look, draft grades to me are really, really dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are. Draft grades are stupid, man. There's just no way to know what a player is going to be in 2 or 3 or 4 years. Somebody go look up Parker Washington's draft grade. I don't know what it was. Right. A 6th-round pick, and here we are 4 years later on the verge of an extension. So, look, and by the way, when it comes to 2026, I'll stand by what I've been saying for months when the Jags went through a relatively inactive free agency period. I think they can roll the ball out now, roster as it is, and they're a 10-11 win football team. I don't know how much immediate impact we expect from a draft class. So this draft grade is not going to be realized for a couple, 3 years. And then we're going to find out if they have properly reestablished depth. Because, we needed beef, and, they took a couple offensive linemen, they took an offensive tackle, they took an edge rusher, they took a linebacker. But again, it was just a who, where, what, And that's pretty much how the whole weekend went. I think it's like anything as the dust settles. You know, I don't think you look on it as harshly. It is what it is. But I've been covering the Jaguars since they were in a trailer down in the stadium was being constructed the first time. Okay? I've been going to draft luncheons and post-draft coverage since, you know, Tom Coughlin was running the show down there. This is, by the experts' tallies, and again, experts in quotes, Mel Kiper was so smart he worked for the Ravens. But it's the worst received draft class nationally. And by the way, we've been a terrible team for a lot of years. And maybe it's easy to earn a good draft grade when you're picking high. But it is by far the worst viewed Jaguars draft by everyone else ever. It's not close. I mean, I'm looking at grades here. It's hard to get a draft grade below a C. I mean, because even the ones that are doing the grade and realize, well, I can't know any and everything about this guy and that guy and why they want him. It's hard to get a draft grade below a C. I saw a D. I saw a D+. I saw an F. Mel Kiper gave him a C. The best, most optimistic draft grade, again, I'm considering the sources. I am. Guys who have not put in near the eyeball time and legwork of specific teams targeting specific needs. The best I can find is Chad Reuter, a friend of the program there on Jaguars Today, I believe. And he did give him a B, which is, you know, going to really mess up the curve for the rest of the league because it is by far the best grade that I've seen the Jaguars given. Meanwhile, I'm seeing some lofty grades for Indy and Tennessee in particular. Houston was, I like some of the picks they had. Again, I'm going by the name value of all this mock drafting and prospect listing that we've been doing for the last month. Meanwhile, the Jags have been doing this for a couple of years. But it is, by consensus, the worst draft in Jags history, again, by the consensus of the immediate reactions. I think the biggest qualm that we had that, you know, the draft graders have was this appearance of reaching, right? And it you know, it depends on it depends on which, I guess, service you look at. You know, different, you know, quote unquote personnel experts have different, you know, criteria. Again, here's a guy who gave the Jags draft a B. Here's somebody else that gave him a D-. That's a big discrepancy for observation and evaluation for 10 dudes that have never played it down in the NFL. But this is just an example of what some of the consensus boards were out there when it came to player value. And we've talked about this. It's Daniel Jeremiah's top 150. It's Matt Miller's top 200. Mel Kiper's big board, on and on and on. So just using one example, and this thing got off from a perception and a reaction and acceptance standpoint. The draft got off to a brutal start in round 2 when they took a tight end who doesn't have many catches and who would seem to be primarily an inline blocker. They took a blocking tight end with their first overall pick, number 56 overall. Meanwhile, those of us who've been following the mock drafts know that Anthony Hill, the linebacker from Texas, who you could say would compete to be a replacement for Devin Lloyd, went 2 picks later. The safety from Toledo, very highly thought of, went a pick or 2 later. I mean, with names that registered, it's not that the Jags went tight end. I told y'all I wouldn't be surprised if the Jags went tight end in round 2. I thought it might be like an Eli Stowers type from Vandy, somebody who brought some sort of special skill. What's that name of that big dude that we got from Carolina a few years? Manhurts. Yeah. Manhurts. This guy's resume is Manhurts. It's a big physical blocker, but I mean, I think the career high in catches before last year may have been 4.
Manhurts?
No, this guy.
Oh, this guy. Ooh.
Yeah. Borkirker. Hey, Borkirker. But look, this is what I mean. He went 56. I'm trying. Let me make sure whose draft grade we are looking at. All right. This is perfect. A guy tabulated the consensus big board. So he took all of those guys I mentioned, and he took all of their, he took all of those rankings from 1 to 300. That lands on a consensus for each of these prospects, and in turn, players that the Jaguars drafted. So pick number 56 overall, the Jags first, was Nate Borkirker, tight end, Texas A&M, ranked 163rd overall. He went 56th. They came back with a need, a defensive tackle, and then they took a 6'1", 295-pounder that no one had mocked that high. It was Albert Regis. He went 81. His consensus value, 150. Now, they hit, for all those in search of value, they hit it pretty good, and I think they saved the first 2 days with Emmanuel Pregnon. He is a big guard from Oregon. He's made a lot of starts. He played for 2 or 3 different programs. He could have very easily been a second-round pick at worst. There were some mocks that had him at the bottom of the first. So to get a big, old, experienced, talented offensive guard with pick 88 was a good one. For instance, his value on the consensus value board was 41. So they hit over value there, again, according to these lists. But that's it. The safety / corner they took in the end of round 3, pick 100. Jalen Husky, his consensus rating, 187. Wesley Williams, they traded up for the edge rusher. I saw the big, more named edge rusher from Penn State, went a pick or 2 later. But they went with Wesley Williams, who had a pretty productive year 2 years ago, but last year maybe only a couple and a half sacks, a lot of pressure, so he'll fit right in here. A lot of pressure, no sacks. Wesley Williams, though, went 119. His consensus number, 236. They hit on a tight – I heard this a lot. Man, it seems like that tight end we got in round 5 or 6 is better than the one we took in round 2. Tanner Kuziol was the tight end that they got with pick 164. Now, his value was 153. They got a receiver from Baylor, Josh Cameron, 191 is the pick. His value, 159, so they get a little overvalue there. But then the last 3, receiver, C.J. Williams, Stanford. Edge rusher, Zach Durfee, Washington. And then Parker Hughes, a linebacker from Middle Tennessee, picks 203, 233, 240, unranked. So, at least by perception, before it plays out, and we see who competes or contends where for playing time, it is a draft that has kind of been, characterized as way too reachy. Now, when you're a 13-win team, and perhaps you feel really good with your roster where it sits, we may be thinking about, outside linebacker, and they may say Ventrell Miller's ready to go. We may be worried about the running back position, and they say just watch Basil Tootin. Okay. And what we see with these late round picks in particular, and this is a theme, it is a label that gets applied to contending teams. And that's special teams depth. Special teams. But it doesn't look like for immediate impact the lines of scrimmage are any better for 2026 today than they were when we left you on Friday. But you also get to a point with teams and contracts and roster modeling that you're not trying to swing for the fences and get, put a bunch together to get one guy that satisfies everybody's value board other than your own. But I get it. I do. The fan in me is like, ugh, what is this? This is pretty uninspiring. I agree with this D, this C+, this C-. Sounds about right to me. Who are these guys? But I also recognize in doing this so long and sitting in the seat that I do that I don't know. I sit here and kill picks. Maybe Wesley Williams has 8 sacks next year, and the whole league was sleeping on him. I don't know. The biggest problem I have, and I think that this would be a fair admission even from the guys that evaluate him, but if you're so good that we just need to accentuate with a blocking tight end who looks a lot like just a young Hunter Long, then okay. But I guess my biggest fear or realization is this. You took a guy in round 2 who I think, based on his track record, based on his skill set, based on his numbers, now it doesn't always play out. One of my favorite, this is a great draft story from years ago, before anyone followed the draft. One of my favorite Atlanta Falcon players of all time was a running back named William Andrews. If you've been around, for a while, you'll remember William Andrews, what an incredible dual threat back he was in the NFL for 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 5 years. He ultimately got knee injuries. His career petered out. But the Falcons took him in like around 4 or 5 from Auburn, where they had James Brooks and Lionel James and Joe. Oh gosh, I'm forgetting one of them. But they had a stacked backfield. William Andrews in college had carried it like 30, 40 times, and that was it. Went on to be a superstar. Maybe you found a couple of guys like this. Certainly not, it would seem, certainly not a, quote, lot of pressure on this rookie class. I don't think there's anybody who is, penciled in to come in and make immediate impact. But let me circle back to what I was going to, and then we'll pause and reflect, and we'll keep moving along with our day. Live this morning from the Southampton Golf Club. It's the Coastal Equipment Googan Open. We are looking forward to hosting about 150 of our closest friends a little bit later today. But this is what is this realization, I think, can dull your excitement. The second-round pick, Borkerker, the in-line blocker, the tight end from Texas A&M. Now, again, this is a statistical observation, not a franchise or offense impact observation. If this guy, the second-round pick, if he hits his ceiling, like if he is as much or more as you can hope, he's a what? 50-catch tight end? He's not a receiver of the football. He's just not. They've got Brenton Strange, who they're going to. I mean, you feel you're good enough that you can enjoy the luxury. Obviously, they think it's their, one of their top needs. There were other players that had to be ranked somewhere near where Borkerker was. And yet they did decide to go with him. So it's going to always be tough from a perception standpoint. The things that Borkerker is bringing to the table aren't going to be the things that pop in the stat sheet or catch your eyeballs per se on Sundays. But it's who the Jags like. It's who James Thesaurus had targeted. And when we come back on the other side, there's just one thing that, to me, this is certainly an outside-the-box draft by the Jags. You could describe it as that. But there's another label that has been attached to James Gladstone in this new era, which I don't think this draft was an example of at all, and that's called aggressive, right? Isn't that kind of a fair supposition that we have about Glenn? They're going to be aggressive. Last year they traded up and they got Travis Hunter. I think we thought they would do more deals than they did this weekend, but the note is that they're aggressive. There's one Shazam Spotlight stat that comes from Gladstone's presser that I'm going to drop on you when we come back that, to me, screams the very opposite of aggressive. That and more, the rest of the league's draft this weekend. We got a lot of draft talk as we move along here on a Monday morning out live on location. Glad you're up and at 'em with us. The good news is we got a really good football team. It's an ascending football team, and there are 10 guys here that the Jags liked enough to think that they can be a part of a winning future and a winning more importantly, culture, because that is something that this class has in common for sure. So we continue with draft talk and more. We're live at the Googan Open this morning, brought to you by Coastal Equipment. Appreciate them as a title sponsor. Looking forward to seeing everyone out here. It was a great weekend in sports outside of Jag-specific draft focus, and we got all that coming up for you as well. I would tell you that the text line is open. It is, but I'm sitting out here bare-tabled, so you can get it off your chest, but it won't be received and read, per se, this morning. It is a Next Gen Roofing Monday. So excited and happy to have them part of the team here at 1010XL. Next Gen Roofing, locally owned, and you can count on them for that hometown service. Not one of these fly-by-nighters that when storms, damage, and other reasons come along that they just, come through town like a bunch of mercenaries. You can always count on Next Gen Roofing and nextgenroofing.com.
Tom McManus.
Well, what's he like?
Big, tall, shoulders like an ox, has the strength of 10 men.
On Helmets and Heels.
Oh, it's me, all right.
Weekdays 2 to 4 on 1010XL. Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnick Buick GMC is proud to be Jacksonville's #1 Buick GMC dealer. How do they earn that? By treating you right. I was just in there. I promise you they treated me right. They'll always treat you right. Courtesy, respect, and fairness. That sounds like a cliche, but it really is part of Nimnick's treating you right guarantee, and I'm an example of it. I love going over there, and I really do trust them. So if you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle or a new vehicle, head to Nimnick today. Better selection, better prices. Who delivers both? Nobody but Nimnick. Head there today. GMC, we are professional grade.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes with an opportunity again this year, just in case you haven't taken advantage of it in the past. Take the opportunity to drop 40 pounds by the 4th with a Waco 180. It sounds a little different when you put a real goal to it, doesn't it? To make it easier, a Waco 180 has lost Reclaim by a Waco 180. Reclaim is a simple 10-week plan designed to help you reach your weight and health goals, a beginning and an end and a real finish line. It just makes more sense. I dropped my 40 within 10 weeks, and like I always tell you, it was easy. Reclaim by a Waco 180 arrives at the perfect time for you to reach your 40 by the 4th and then keep it off with free support for life. Any medication, diet, or workout plan will say you'll see the results. But how many will say in 10 weeks you'll be a new version of yourself, thanking the old you for making that call to a Waco 180? 40 by the 4th isn't just a slogan. It's an opportunity to succeed with Reclaim by a Waco 180. Only at awaco180weightloss.com.
Get to know Jacksonville's future stars.
I believe in drafting the best player available.
Listen for draft profiles to get to know the newest members of your home team. Enhanced by Premier Outdoor Inc. Roll through the offseason with AA Automotive and 1010XL.
Funny thing, a lot of plumbing companies still call themselves local, even after being bought by, well, not local people. Meanwhile, Hall & Sons Plumbing is still family-owned, veteran-operated, and proudly serving Jacksonville the way we always have, with a handshake, honest pricing, and real local roots. So if you want a plumber who actually lives down the road, not in a boardroom 3 states away, call Hall & Sons Plumbing. Local, family, real.
Hey, Jacksonville DDH, Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your National Builder of the Year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% and homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dfhsalesevent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Hey folks, it's Frank Frangie. Summer heat in Jacksonville is no joke, and the last thing you want is your AC given out when you need it the most. Well, right now, Big Chief Tire is offering $50 off AC services to keep you cool on the road. It's fast, honest service from a local team you can trust. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 904-932-0950 or visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com. Big Chief Tire, your home team for dependable service. That's how you take care of your car the right way.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple of years ago, went smooth as silk, was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Our son Eric's a Division I collegiate baseball pitcher who is having shoulder pain. We took him to Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and are confident that he's now on the road to recovery. This is Beth Anderson, and we love the care Eric receives at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
All right, I'm not being Jag serving here. I've never been a big believer in the draft grades. I got people telling me, it seems to be pretty in vogue that the Jags lost the Travis Hunter trade. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Literally. What blazes are you grading the Travis Hunter trade? He's played 8 games, man. It is interesting to see when the dust settles, all of these trades the Jags made. We now know exactly. E.T., I know you're a big Travis Hunter fan. By the way, I'm on board now. We can go ahead and shift. I think Travis Hunter is going to be a superstar. I still think that. Why would I not? But he's not yet. Fair enough. Okay? Would you trade right now Travis Hunter for Mason Graham and Casey Concepcion?
Man, come on. No.
All right. Well, outside of Bashal Tutin and Quinshon Judkins, which would seem to benefit the Browns right now. But again, Tutin hadn't had his chance, and Judkins, by necessity had his last year. That's also a part of this, so I don't want to be disingenuous. But at the end of the day, we're quibbling because we've traded Mason Graham and Casey Concepcion for Travis Hunter.
That's crazy.
And they lost that trade?
That's crazy.
What are y'all smoking? What cliff of pessimism are you living on? So, not to belabor an old story, which I think is going to age into a grand slam swindle by the Jaguars in getting Travis Hunter. If that ended up, again, I'm going with the first round stuff. We get to round 2, then who knows? We all learned that this weekend, didn't we? Nod, nod, wink, wink. But when it comes to the first round assets, they traded from 5 to 2. They got Travis Hunter, and the Browns got Mason Graham and Casey Concepcion. If you want to trade Travis Hunter for those two, then I don't want you around my decision making. So there's a point. All right, here's a point I'd like to make, too, because this draft would certainly classify as outside the box, and we'll talk more about that. I'll give you more specifics on what other people are saying. It's this is the overall thought. I don't know what the Jags were doing here. I had this prospect rank 194, and he went 100. I had this prospect. They all say that, almost unequivocally across the board, although we will feature in for one segment the B grade that we got from Chad Reuter and how he came up with that designation. And the one thing that I will say, too, about Borkerker, and it was an unknown pick, but as the dust settles, we are learning that he was higher on teams' value boards than he was on the consensus mock drafters. But so what? So what? That's not going to mean a thing. And I think from a statistical standpoint, the second rounder is never going to be eye-popping. This isn't Brenton Strange, who has an athletic, compass that goes in all 4 directions. This is just an inline blocker who will catch a ball occasionally. That's what he's been, at least in his career. Maybe the Jags see something more than that. That's fine, too. But here is a quote that I saw from James Gladstone after the draft was completed. Before we start, we were outside the box, but aggressive, we weren't. And at least that's the conclusion that I draw from this. He said, did y'all hear this quote? He said after they were done that they had targeted 11 guys. They had 11 guys slotted into their 11 draft picks. And when the draft ended, they had 10 of those guys. In other words, and by the way, they went from 11 picks to 10 picks. So they had 11 guys. 10 of those 11 ended up being the draft class. Well, that sounds to me like you made up your mind and you weren't going to be willing to, swerve at all. So to have 10 guys positioned on your draft board, in your draft spot, in your mock draft, to end up with all 10 of those guys seems like the opposite of aggressive to me. I ain't aggressive. That's as passive as can be. That's filling in a list with your mock drafts and hand it to the assistant's traveling secretary and go home. I mean, you're going to get down to each spot. And yeah, you know what? It's easy to get all those guys. It's easy to wind up with all of them when you take a guy 124 whose value, according to all the boards, is 243. So sure, I can see how they ended up with all 10. Ain't nobody taking the guys they were taking when they took them. And I'm curious, you're telling me you thought you were getting pregnant in round 3? Really? Or did you have him listed in round 2? I wouldn't think so. They got that Borkirker pick up there pretty quick. Seemed to be good with it. But that was just one thing I want to say. This is a, this is a front office that wants to be known as aggressive and forward-thinking and outside the box. And, yeah, the outside the box point came in. Even the forward-thinking, if you're considering what impact you're going to get from these guys if you're the Jags a couple, 3 years from now. But aggressive? Nah. Taking the exact 10 guys that you had on your board before the draft started, 7 of whom were quote-unquote reaches by the experts, that's not aggressive at all. We had about as feel-good story you can have in golf this weekend. So as we sit here for awaiting tee time, 10:10 for today's Googan Open, we will pay our respects to a really feel-good story from the world of golf this weekend. So all that and more. We're up and rolling. NBA playoffs are now to the midpoints of these first-round series. Stanley Cup continues to roll on. Baseball news is popping, and man, it's Groundhog's Day for like the Mets and the Phillies. The Braves are kind of putting the division away, and we're not even to May. So all that and more as we get you up and rolling. We're live at the Southampton Golf Club for the Coastal Equipment Googan Open. Back with more next.
The Drill at the DivorceMenOnly.com studios.
Hi, this is Dale Murray with Murray Automotive Group in Stark and Kingsland. Save yourself from those big city dealers and their fast-talking mumbo-jumbo. No matter what your automotive need is, we've got you covered. Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and nobody beats our prices. I mean nobody. Shazam! Plus our exclusive 15-year, 150,000-mile warranty included on every qualified vehicle. And we'll trade anything from high heels to wagon wheels. Compare our prices online at ShazamAuto.com. Then come see me, Dale Murray. I'll be waiting for you. Shazam!
Hey, gang, Prosser here. When it comes time to sell your home, I'll tell you got one option. It's Chad and Sandy. Or another option, just fruitless frustration. Not with Chad and Sandy. See, they get to the solution real quick. Let's get to the punchline. Your home sold guaranteed or they will buy it. That's why you got to go to ChadAndSandy.com or call them today at 414-6200. Government's making moves intended to push mortgage rates lower. The last time rates dropped, we saw a selling and buying frenzy. Now's the time to prepare. You call Chad and Sandy, the proven experts to sell your home. Need max price, need to sell now. Fast, easy, stress-free. Chad and Sandy got this science-based market max system. It's proven, it's repeatable, and they guarantee they'll sell your home. Using the proprietary Market Max, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. No required repairs. Pick your move date. No long-term contracts. We trust them. You can too. ChadAndSandy.com. ChadAndSandy.com.
It's the way the game was meant to be heard. Raw, real, and right in your ears.
Right side drive, touchdown!
Feel the energy on 1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Top salespeople don't rely on talent. They follow a system. At Sandler Sales Jacksonville Boot Camp, you'll learn how to control conversations, handle objections, and close with confidence. Matt Rocco with Sandler Sales here. We can help. There's a 2-day sales boot camp in Jacksonville, May 13th and 14th. We'll show you how to increase performance or that of your team. Call 904-646-1900. That's 904-646-1900 to reserve your seat today.
Don't miss the Bari Breakdown with Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays around 1:35 for the latest in sports injuries from all the big names in the game. Who's MIA, who's coming back? Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays at 1:35 on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler, and this Mother's Day, we'd like to help you celebrate Mom with up to 40% off our entire inventory. GIA-certified natural diamonds and lab-grown diamonds, beautiful colored gemstones, designer brands, custom jewelry design, and Monahan Jewelers offers interest-free financing on any purchase, so get something special with a payment you can afford. Come celebrate Mom with fine jewelry at up to 40% off at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Overheard at the Hard Rock Bet Party.
Meta World Peace, what's up, man?
Nah, that's not my name anymore, thanks to Hard Rock Bet.
We're doing this again, are we?
Now I go by Meta over rebounds, under assists, method of first basket, free throw, piece.
Huh, so you really can same-game parlay practically anything now on Hard Rock Bet.
It's the only place I play these days.
Download the Hard Rock Bet app and start playing today. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
Lifetime Flooring. Jeff Breyer and Zach Breyer here with the Lifetime family of companies. Looking to revitalize and fall in love with your home again?
At Lifetime Flooring, our family-owned team brings you top-quality flooring and bath remodels with the professionalism that big box stores can't touch.
And Lifetime Enclosures will help you design and build what will become your favorite room in your home.
This Easter, everybody will want to hop on over.
Absolutely. So visit our websites or one of our showrooms today to experience the Lifetime difference and ask about our Easter specials. Lifetime Flooring.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
5, 4, 3, 1.
All right, we're back. Back here on the drill. 641-1010, just to play. I'm no this day. There you go. I got a Shazam spotlight here. Brought to you by ShazamAuto.com, the Murray Ford Superstore, Stark and Kingsland. Boy, that truck comes in handy. Truck guy. I'll probably be truck guy till I die now. You get used to that truck, man. There are a lot of advantages to it, but nothing like the advantage of choosing Murray Ford in both Stark and Kingsland. They've got a Murray Superstore down there in Stark, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram. You get it all. Incredible customer service. I just don't know. I don't know how this is possible. ET, you can appreciate this, being a now distinguished, experienced road racer yourself.
Talk to me.
Did you see what happened at the Boston Marathon?
Yes.
This weekend?
Yes.
All right, let me tell folks what happened here at the Boston Marathon. All right, this dude. Good gracious. Are they not? Are they questioning the finish? Or are we re-evaluating it? Because the Boston Marathon record that I'm seeing here is not being acknowledged yet. Yeah, that's annoying. Was it the Boston Marathon? It was the Boston Marathon, wasn't it?
Oh, London Marathon.
London Marathon. My bad. My bad.
I'm looking at Boston Marathon too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because it's close there. All right, my bad. Yeah, the Shazam. Your host is an idiot, so that's not really a Shazam. Yeah, you kind of know that. Hey, I don't appreciate now your quick trigger back there. I say the host is an idiot. Shazam. He fires it right up. Aaron does. Dang, bro. All right. No, this guy's name is Sebastian Saw, and maybe you saw him. Maybe you didn't, because he was blazing through the London Marathon. He is the first ever to complete a marathon. You ready? In under 2 hours. 2 hours, bro. That's what it took you to run the River Run.
No, for real.
I know. I'm not kidding. It took you longer than that. This dude ran 26.2 miles.
What it took me to run.
In the time it took a lot of people to run the River Run, the 9.3. I did the math here. You ready? This guy ran 26.2 miles. What do you think his pace was per mile?
His pace was it was like 7 minutes, wasn't it?
4.5 minutes a mile, boss.
Man, that's crazy.
This guy ran 4.5-minute miles for 26.2.
Like, I just saw the way he finished, Jeff, and the way he was striding through. Like, bro,
That's basically like going out, and I couldn't, even if I had the cardio, I don't think I could sprint a mile in 4.5 minutes. Now, look, I'm an old, tired man. Don't get me wrong.
At my peak, I could.
And he's a spry, marathon runner. But my man, you're telling me just did a marathon in under 2 hours? What are we doing?
Wow.
That's just built different. Be interesting to track. I'm going to look at this a little bit later, and maybe not for the show use per se. But I wonder how that marathon time has inched down, through the years, right? And for those of you out there running a marathon, this may be even more mind-boggling. I don't know. You're built different if you want to run a marathon.
Yeah, first of all.
I get bored driving 8 miles from my house to Southampton here. You're asking me to run, walk, slog, 26.2? Some people love the challenge. Some people fly around the world and climb mountains. Others want to do Ironman.
Fair.
Nah, I'll play E9. There you go. That's my challenge. I'll take that one from you. All right, we had an incredible golf story this weekend. And not incredible that Matthew Fitzpatrick won a golf tournament. He won last. Oh, I think that's a brunch with the tour win for me.
I believe so.
Excellent. So it's not that Matthew Fitzpatrick won a golf tournament. It's that the format for this tournament brought a partner along. And this just in, y'all know this. If you win a PGA Tour event, you get your PGA Tour card for like the next 2 or 3 years. If you win in a season, you're a full-fledged member. You'll be at the Players. You play the PGA Championship in a couple of weeks. And we've known about the Matt Fitzpatrick family dynamic. When he won the U.S. Open, his brother had flown across sea. His name is Alex Fitzpatrick. He's Matthew Fitzpatrick's younger brother. By the way, if you watch the golf this weekend, my question I'm left with after watching the two of them play together for 4 days is which one of those boys is adopted? They look nothing alike. So anyway, and Alex Fitzpatrick, by the way, it's been a hell of a month. He won a DP World Tour event. He won a European Tour event earlier this month. It was the first time he had won a professional event. But we remember him being, where did he win? Shinnecock? I don't know. When Fitzpatrick won his U.S. Open, his brother was there. They have a very close family. Well, they played the Zurich this weekend. It's a team event, so it only makes sense that Matthew Fitzpatrick would play with his brother, Alex Fitzpatrick. So they play, and they fell behind a little bit early, and they're part of it. They take a nice 3-shot lead into the final round. Again, it's a team competition. It's alternate shot yesterday, so anything can happen, and on holes 11 and 12 did. They went bogey, double bogey. They had a 4-shot lead at the turn. It was gone. They were now tied for the lead. There is extra on the line here in this pairing, though. You see, Alex Fitzpatrick is not a member of the PGA Tour. So if he piggybacks with Big Bro here and wins the Zurich Classic, it's not just a win in that first place check and your first PGA Tour victory. It is now the open path to the PGA Tour. You go from, DP World Tour member. And by the way, another story, these guys are thick as thieves. They're close. You could tell by their reaction. Spoiler alert, they won the tournament. They made a birdie on the last hole. Matthew Fitzpatrick hit about the best bunker shot you'll see all year. And they won by one. And then they hugged it out and cried on the greens. Not because they won the Zurich Classic. It's because of what it meant. And also, for two brothers that are very close, because they play, Fitzpatrick plays here, his brother, they never see each other. They're playing golf on different circuits in different parts of the world. And so there's also now that added bonus that they'll be on the same tour together, the PGA Tour. And to get there by combining with your brother to do it, it's just different, man.
That's pretty cool, man. And they get to split that check, too.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's just cherry on
Yeah,
top.
what they get, about $1.3 million apiece, probably? Yeah, that's a nice victory for Team Fitzpatrick.
I thought they were splitting 1.3.
No. I think they both get it. I think we'll have to look. That'll, I guess, matter. I can't remember what we were even discussing on Brunch with the Tour and how we do it. I don't even care. Anyway, all right, let's come back to the football fix. We are live at they're telling me 19th. I'm telling you it's the 20th. My guy Mark Casper from Windsor texted me and said the first one was 2007, so that would make this number 20. And by the way, as we get up and rolling, shout out to the OG of the Googan as well. When we first put this together, Jack O'Brien and Jim Lear, who was running both the Windsor Park and Julington Creek golf clubs, as I call him because he always remains behind the curtain. But Oz is and it's given so much to golf here on the First Coast through the years as well. But shout out to our man Jim Lear for his very, very important role and support in getting the Googan Open up and running into the behemoth that it has become. Football Fix when we return. You're listening to The Drill. It's a Next Gen Roofing Monday.
The Drill. From the DivorceMenOnly.com studios.
Ace Carline here for Atlantic Infinity, and yes, I'm still loving my new QX60. Right now, you can lease one or lock in just 1.9% financing for 60 months, and every new Infinity comes with the Atlantic Infinity Promise. That's over $7,000 in added value. That's one of many reasons why I bought mine there. No pressure, no games, just a great experience. Make your next ride an Infinity from Atlantic Infinity.